Groovy, baby, yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Franchise Unpacked. What's going on, everybody? It's me, your host, Dave.
And this is Zach. What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing great. It has been a long weekend.
It has.
A long week. It's about to be a long week. I'm gonna be transparency. I'm gonna be like hauling to get this episode edited. I might edit it tonight.
Well, hopefully we
Yeah.
don't do much,
Whew.
too many screw-ups. Oh, I already screwed up. We gotta take it back.
No.
No, but
Rewind.
Zach does all of our editing here at Franchise Unpacked, so
Yeah, we're actually,
thank him.
and we've been talking about it. Like, we may end up bringing in an audio editor, just because we thought that could be kind of a fun way to split up the work.
And we can leave them
bit.
messages in the
Exactly,
episodes and see if they edit them in. Like,
Right.
add an applause break here.
Yeah, and
see
then if they don't do it, they're fired.
They're fired.
You're
That would be great.
fired.
I love it. But you guys, you picked a date you just mentioned, you and
Yeah,
Shelby.
yeah,
They're
so,
getting hitched next year.
Oh, I'm so excited. I guess I won't give the full
No.
date on the show, but
dox your wedding.
We picked our date. We got our venue all set up.
That's huge.
We got our photographer in the bag. We got the DJ already.
You guys are ahead of.
We're trying.
Kim and I are getting married in like a couple months, and you guys are doing better than we are. We gotta lock our stuff down.
Yeah, I just don't want to have anything that's like just hanging.
And it's all expensive. It's nice to get everything saved away and plotted and planned.
Yeah, but what about you? What's going on with you this week?
Not much. I just finally enjoying some of this nice weather. We went down to a pig and whiskey festival down in Ferndale here near Detroit.
Oh, how was that?
And it was unbearably hot to the point where
that's right.
They sent out like a message saying, "Don't bring your dogs. It's too hot." Like, and when I had I think one drink there, and I didn't even enjoy any of the food because it was too hot to eat.
It's it's like you feel nauseated.
I mean, we were in Florida a couple months ago, and it wasn't that bad. It was. Right. I mean, it was almost 100 degrees. The humidity was in the 90%. It was muggy and awful. And then you're near all these food trucks and a bunch of other people, and I was just like,
it's crowded and
it was just too hot.
Yeah.
But now the rain's come, temperature's broken.
Yeah, today was perfect.
Better. Lovely day.
Anyway, enough about the weather, I guess.
Yeah.
we can
divert back to the weather.
Somehow we always do. But you know what? That's okay. And you know what? We're just so happy to have you guys here.
We are.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Today, we're covering a modern classic. I guess I think it counts as a modern
classic. Yes, truly.
It's the Austin Powers franchise.
It is. Shagadelic.
Yeah, so I guess I've been really kind of digging the whole, like, what was your experience? What was my experience?
Oh, yeah.
So, what was your Austin Powers experience at first?
I think it's funny because I know I didn't see it in theaters because I was only 9 when it came. The first one,
right.
Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, which came out in 1997.
Yeah. May 2nd, I think.
So I think so. Yeah, 97. And it was one of those things where it's like, now I know I was 9 and movies and trailers and like hype about movies wasn't as big back in the day.
Right.
I think like Phantom Menace kind of kicked off a weird, like, when can we see the trailer sort of situation.
And that was 99,
99 to 2000.
Yeah.
But like, I don't ever recall hearing about it until it was shown on reruns on Comedy Central.
Really? See, I kind of had like an opposite. I mean, I'll get into that in a second. Yeah.
Because like, I know they started airing it on Comedy Central like the next year, if not like that fall, because they loved it. And Mike Myers was like a former SNL alum, and there's a lot of connection with Comedy Central.
He was
NBC.
still kind of coming down off of Wayne's World,
and I remember turning on the TV, and I remember the first scene I saw. It was Dr. Evil and Scott in the therapy session with Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, is running their therapy session. And the funny thing is about that scene, if you watch that scene, because Kim and I actually threw on the very first Austin Powers movie a couple of weeks ago. We're like, oh, this is great. And it holds up.
The first one really does. Shelby and I watched it a couple months ago.
The first one's great. Yeah. And
I like the second one a lot too.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. We'll get into it. But there's that scene. And it feels like it was directed by a completely different director. I feel like they almost recorded it before the whole movie as like a featurette or like a sting like to show they're like, this is the content. Like, look at how funny. Think about an evil genius in therapy with his punk son.
Right.
Like they almost filmed that, and it's how he's talking about. He's like, oh, you know, my days were spent on the on the French Riviera. Like we were beaten in burlap sacks with reeds. Yeah, like that sort of thing. And they were just staring at him. But I remember hearing that. I'm like, this is hilarious. Because I also had a concept of the James Bond villains that they were portraying. Blofeld, Ernst Blofeld is Dr. Evil, the original Ernst Blofeld. the bald head scar with a cat. It's literally that character.
Well, and the whole franchise, it's a Bond parody through and through.
Bond parody, Dudley Moore, a lot of those fun English 60s romps,
right.
Beautiful women, go-go boots, and all that. But what about you? What was your first?
So
because you would have been 6.
No, in 97, I would have been 7.
7, you would have been 7. Yeah, that's right.
But it's so my brother. Again, we always talk about our older brothers.
Oh, yeah.
My brother was into it, and that was a little bit more age appropriate for him.
He would have been.
He would have been 14.
14. Oh, that's right. I'm thinking my brother's age. Yeah. So he's into puberty.
Right.
This is
so
a sex comedy. Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah,
it's
a
sex
is.
comedy.
And it was. So I remember he really liked it, and my brother was. He was like the king of quoting things. So when I started hearing these quotes, I was like, this sounds kind of funny. And I ended up. I think the first one that I watched might have been the second movie. And I personally, I know you don't seem like you're as big of a fan of it. The second movie is probably my favorite.
The second one's good.
I really loved it.
I enjoyed it.
The first two are they're just both great. But
I kind of have an overarching opinion of how, but it's not negative. But it's more of the finish. You finish your story. We'll get into it.
There's really no huge climax ending to that story, but there's it was just one of those things where my brother was quoting it a lot. And I think it was the same thing. I think we rented it at, Hollywood Video or whenever those were still around, and just popped it in. And I didn't understand half the jokes. But even though at a young age I didn't understand a lot of those jokes, there were still a lot of jokes that landed. Like you got the guy with the steamroller. He's like, no.
Yeah, and that's what's his face from Mad TV. That's the guy who played Stewart. McDonald. Michael McDonald? Not Michael. Michael McDonald's a singer-songwriter.
Yeah,
it might be Michael McDonald. But
Ian? Ian McDonald?
No, that's Ian Black. You might be
Ian Black. I don't know. But stuff like that, those jokes
Michael
still
Ian
read.
Black is right.
Michael Ian Black.
Yeah, that's the other comedian. But anyway, when you said that quotability, I think Anchorman, you think of these big comedies. Now this is kind of a new thought, dude. It's almost like they write these comedies like we need as many quotable jokes, not as necessarily jokes, but like quotes.
And I think
do
that
I
started
make you
here.
horny, baby? Shagadelic.
Right.
That's not really a joke. You're poking fun at a time period, like quotes from a time, saying shagadelic. Okay, that's like saying, oh, that's cool or that's lit. If we hear that's lit in 30 years, it's like, oh, what a blast from the past.
Right.
But and when like Anchorman, it's the milk was a bad choice.
Right.
You hear these, it's like that quotability beyond its years.
I think that's something that, and I could be wrong here. I'm wildly speculating, but
sure.
It seems like Austin Powers was the first, if not one of the first movies to do that. And I don't think they did it to be quotable. I think that they just had those type of they were writing these one-liners
they were onto something.
Yeah,
they had a stellar character that had not been done like this before.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, it takes a lot. You couldn't pull the first movie off today.
No.
No. I don't think
like
that
I said, you're never
going
going to see another American Pie type movie. And this is not that. I wouldn't consider, when I said sex comedy, I'm like, that would be like American Pie, Dude, Where's My Car? Those kind of movies. Even like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is from the 80s.
And also, this is this won't be an explicit episode.
No, I'm not going to go into it.
Yeah, but there are topics.
There's some innuendo is huge.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to use one of the more cleaner parody names.
Yeah.
Austin Powers runs into a woman named Ivana Hump-a-Lot. That's hilarious. And we talked about it in the James Bond episode. There's a character name.
Yeah, baby.
That is a character name. That's a character name, Zach. You
that
cannot edit that out.
I'm looking.
You looked right at me. That is a character's name, and we talked about it on the James Bond episode.
That's true,
and that's why they made.
But
Ivana
YouTube,
Hump-a-Lot.
if we upload this to YouTube, though, they do not care.
Beep it. You can beep it. But I mean, they have to understand that these character names,
right?
Even Basil Exposition is hilarious, which
that's one
I
of my
never
favorite
got.
names.
I always thought he was saying expedition, which still kind of works.
Yeah.
But exposition, he literally gives the exposition in all the movies, and you're like, this is, if you're an adult, it's like it's airplane level like dad jokes
and
that are also
and you
in
can
there.
see all of that inspiration from movies like Airplane and even kind of like the Jerk style humor where it's kind of quick and punchy and they don't linger on a joke for too long.
And characters are dumb, but not like it's dumb for the gag.
Right.
Like not a slapstick moment, which there are plenty of in like Airplane and in Austin Powers. Like the pilot in Airplane's like, I have a drinking problem, and it's just whenever he tries to drink something, he just misses his mouth. He spills it all like that's his drinking problem. So it's those dad knee jokes. But but I wouldn't call Austin Powers quite in that spoof genre like Scary Movie or Airplane, because it's not taking, like, if you took a James Bond movie, a specific one, and then said, we're going to remake Goldeneye, but make it Farteneye, and the whole that's a spoof. And like, you're literally like beat for beating it almost.
Yeah.
Whereas these are original enough of a plot, but you're spoofing other plot. I don't, it's a hard, weird.
It's spoof moments. And like you were saying, like the characters are dumb sometimes, but it's dumb moments. Like Austin Powers is not an idiot. And that's what I wanted to get to when I said about my feelings towards the second one. So he does get a little bit dumb in the second one.
He's dumb, and it's no longer because of him being from the past. So he no longer has an excuse. As much of an excuse. Yeah. It's like Thor in the event his speech gets better and more understandable as the movie, because he's adapting to our world.
Yeah.
Austin Powers 1 was such a good movie because the whole arch is, his character arch is trying to understand that you can't, free love is no longer, you can just fool around with everybody.
Right.
It's loving everyone from a deeper point, but also being, monogamistic is important in this day and age. Tooth health is important. Like,
right.
And you're in your shock. All of your friends have died. Like when he goes, it's kind of a poignant moment when he goes through his list of dead celebrities friends saying, oh no, I don't know. Everyone I knew and loved and partied with is now dead. You're like, oh wow, that hits. This character, he's a fish out of water. Then you get into the second movie and he's a fish out of water because then you're making him travel back in time to a slightly different time period than he was already used to, but he's still...
I guess for me, the second one...
It's like 70 shenanigans that he never got to see.
Right. And I think that that's still red for me, because it was that sort of adapt and then unadapt. That felt like it could be one arc, and that's where I think the third movie... Okay, so a quick timeline for everybody listening. Austin Powers, the first one, International Man of Mystery, came out in 97. Mm-hmm. The Spy Who Shagged Me came out in June of 99.
My God. They could just pump those. They were probably filming it right when the first one.
And I think that's why it felt like an arc. It felt like that, you're going forward, you're going backwards. Like there's a little bit of that tie-in.
And all the product placement in the second one is kind of funny. It's Starbucks and all that. Oh, now I kind of really do realize why they were hamming it up in that sense.
Oh, for sure. And the second one was a lot more goofy. And it was a lot. But
it focused on Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. That is another thing they became the quotability aspect of the second movie.
And that's where they dropped the ball when we got into... So there was a longer gap. We went up to 2002 for Goldmember. That movie year was a stinker.
It was just more of the same. Well, the thing is with the second one...
It was still kind of funny, but it was just... You watch it once and you're good.
I'm going to get some tweets. But Beyonce, not a great actress.
No.
Not great. She was, and she's in Dreamgirl. She's an amazing singer. Do not get me wrong. And she sang Goldmember, and obviously she's going to sing the theme song to it. And she's in Lion King, but just her voice. She's Nala.
Right.
But whenever I've seen her in a film, I've never been.
I gotta say, I'll say it. I'm not a Beyonce fan.
No,
I'm gonna get hurt by some people online, I'm sure. But I'm just not
her
a
music
Beyonce
is
fan.
catchy. But I have Zach. I've never downloaded a Beyonce song.
No,
but I enjoy if a single lady comes on at a wedding or on the radio. It's like, okay, sure. Yes,
right.
Yeah, Crazy in Love. Sure, you got some pipes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, she can sing for
Destiny's Child. Yeah, you were doing it.
But she wasn't the right fit for this type of movie.
Foxy Cleopatra-esque kind of. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay. And then I feel like they're like, oh, well, we have Beyonce. We've got to now make the plot around her and make this blaxploitation character.
Right.
And that's the thing, too. It's 2 and 3 become movies not about Austin Powers. They become either about Dr. Evil, and then Heather Graham in the second movie, the plot's the same as the first movie. She is the one who's cheating on him. So it's like, I thought we were together. It's kind of the same. There's no...
Yeah.
change in that. It's just you're switching the character up. And then you're starting, Mike Myers is like, put me in more costumes, make me Fat Bastard, make me this. Which then, Fat Bastard is another character you could never make nowadays, A, because it's horribly inappropriate and offensive. And B, they're like, we need a quote machine. He talks about eating babies and eating like nonstop.
I think that's why I still like the second movie though, is because they did just the right amount of callback jokes. I feel like, they had like Fez, how in the first first movie he falls off in the first movie he goes very badly burned. Yeah, in the first movie he's in the furnace. You shot me. And then in the second one he falls down the cliff. Yeah. It's the same shtick, but it's updated just enough. You know what I mean? So
I
the
love
joke
that.
Still reads.
Keep that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and the great thing is too, in the very first movie, watch Will Ferrell. His character in the past when he survives, when he sends all of his other henchmen, but Fez and Frau Verbissina Frau Verbissina is one of my favorites.
Oh, she's the best.
She's a part of the militant wing of the Salvation Army. But if you watch Will Ferrell's character in the past, and then when he burns him in the present, when Dr. Evil wakes back up in the 90s and then burns him and does that bit, look at his hair, how they aged Will Ferrell. The only thing they did to age him 20 or so years was put a little bit of white in his sideburns, and it looks like it's not even like spray. It looks like they did it with white out.
Right.
Like, oh no, this is 20 years later. We have to make him look older.
That's amazing.
Really I like all the hitmen
incredible.
in the first one too, like the Irishmen. They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
Why does everybody laugh when I say that?
And he's like, gosh, like Austin Powers takes him out in the bathroom. He's like, who does number 2 work for?
Yeah, and Tom Arnold makes a cameo. He's like, you show that turd who's boss.
Give it hail.
Hell, boy, what'd you eat?
Bite your lip and give it hail.
I love that.
But then the third movie, it just kind of started to fall flat. We saw, like you were saying, we saw a lot of the same. They were going for the same jokes, and
I liked the beginning when it did the open of all the celebrities. Tom Cruise playing that, or Danny DeVito. Hey, I'm Mini-Me, come get me.
And don't get me wrong, I think there were great jokes and great moments, but we had Goldmember in there, and he was just kind of he
a dumb.
Yeah,
they were looked at all the titles of James Bond movies, and that was the best they could come up with.
We did, however, get what I think is one of the greatest quotes in cinema history, which is, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but it's like, there are only 2 things that I can't stand: people who are intolerant of other cultures, and the Dutch.
Yes, Michael Caine's character in that is so good. Hilarious. So good. When they have their Cockney on, or when they say Cockney. It has to be translated.
Well,
it's not. I don't think it's Cockney. It's that. There's a term for it, and it's the rhyming game of Cockney, and it's actually played by British, and they do it in the new Mary Poppins movie. She does a whole song. Triple Little Light Fantastic is what the song is called, and it's all about like going. If you say, "Oh, I fell down the apples and pears," that means I fell down the stairs because pears rhymes with stairs, but you have to combine it with apples and pears because but there's it's this whole limerick game that the Irish and the British and it's usually the working class have. Yeah. And it's really incredible.
And that was a nod though too to like to the airplane scene, do you speak jive?
Yeah.
There's
a little bit of that.
There's there are a lot of those kind of fun callback jokes. And it was kind of cool to see their history and all that, but I guess we can go into still in all of this is the past. We have some stuff for the future.
There was, I read in 1999 they tried to get an animated series on HBO.
Yes,
and it just as far as I could tell, any little research that was there it just fell flat.
It was ready to go. HBO purchased it from Mike Myers, and
I was going to say who screwed it up. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mike Myers.
That's the speculation. Yeah. So there's no actual proof anywhere of what happened, but there was some producer or something that said that Myers walked away from the project.
I think they saw that there was way more money to be had in the series with that second movie coming out.
I would have watched that show though, an animated. I'm sure
HBO doesn't have too many animated specials. They just outsource it. It's bought basically Muppets and stuff like that. It's not even animated.
Well, especially that was kind of piggybacking off of the success of Shrek as well in that same time frame. Yeah. So, he was already becoming this sort of voiceover character, and that character, let's be honest, was the same as Mike Myers anyway, or as Austin Powers anyway. Shrek, they have kind of that or not Mike.
Both are monsters. If you think about it, not literally and metaphorically, but like think of those franchises. What he must have been swimming Scrooge McDuck style in pools of money.
Oh, he's got to still be just.
Well, I hear. We'll get it. Well, a little bit of rumors about. Let's gossip reel. This is Well, you know what? Before we get into that, I think we should take a little bit of a break. Yes. Give everybody a bit of a pause.
Little mid-roll break. Mid-roll sponsor break. Yeah. Because we're sponsored now, as you guys know.
We are.
So our sponsor, our lovely sponsor, is audibletrial.com. So what you guys can do if you want to check out some awesome audiobooks, Audible has an unmatched number.
So many.
Yeah, in their library. So
unmatched.
And it was really cool because I was looking and they have, we talked about this last week a little bit too. They have like celebrities reading these audiobooks. But the way that you guys can access that is if you go to audibletrial.com/franchise unpacked. And that'll give you a 30-day trial. It'll give you a free ebook, which, I mean, let's be real. A lot of us don't have time to sit down and read a book. So it's nice to.
And the cool thing is, it always seems daunting, like, oh, I'm going to read this book. But when you look at the audio files, you're like, oh, this is X amount of hours. That's definitely reasonable. I can listen to this in 5-6 hours. That's a whole book.
It's the time that it takes to listen to one of your favorite albums a few times through. And I don't know. I think it's cool that's. I mean, all sponsorships aside, I think it is kind of cool that that's become so mainstream now because let's be real, we needed a way to bring reading in books into this newer age, because
LeVar Burton knew it with Reading Rainbow.
And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with like traditional style at all, but I think that it's just so cool that you can go through through Audible and
you want to look cool and modern?
Yeah, exactly. Throw those earbuds in.
And I mean, when you're driving in the car, like I've said, it's summer, when you're at the beach, when you're waiting, in line, or if you're at the doctor's office, you just pop in your earbuds,
right?
Throw on, pick right up where you left off.
Yeah.
It is so cool.
So, and the link for that again is audibletrial.com/franchise unpacked. Helps us out a ton. Helps them out a ton.
Helps you out a ton.
Helps you out a ton. Sponsor break over. I think that's sponsor break.
There it is.
And so back to Austin Powers. I wanted to dive in really quick to the video games. So
I saw the one for Game Boy Color. Yeah. They all basically looked like if you took little board games or card games, little like I call them what they call midway sort of games that you played at Carnival, but then skin them to have Austin Powers characters.
We had 2 games that came out for Game Boy Color at the same time.
Of course, because
it was in 2000. It was Austin Powers Oh Behave and Austin Powers Welcome to My Underground Lair. Here's the thing.
Oh Behave.
They were pulling a Pokemon. They were pulling a Pokemon Red and Blue.
Were they the same game?
They were the same game with different mini games. So it was like a WarioWare.
It was Mario Party 1 and 2.
It was way watered down.
Oh, I mean,
but it was like because did you ever play WarioWare where it was kind of like quick games, things like it looked like that.
Madness.
It wasn't quite that fast paced, but it was. I think each of them had 4 or 5 mini games, which that is not enough.
They described one of the games as a chip game called Othello, which I was like, I've never heard of that.
And you could, and so like in Oh Behave, your character was Austin Powers.
Sure.
And in Welcome to My Underground Lair, Dr. Evil. So you could play the same games from different sides. It was a money grab. It was a straight up money grab.
How clever.
They looked awful. I will say though, the animations were not bad.
It was as much animation as you could cram into a Game Boy Color.
Right.
You are correct there. It's almost like they spent all of any money that was devoted to the game on it. But
then there was Austin Powers in Operation Trivia, which I watched about 30 seconds of that gameplay before I wanted to throw my computer out the window. There was Austin Powers Pinball for PlayStation and PC.
Yep.
And there was also several Austin Powers pinball machines, like physical ones that I could find.
Yep. And casino games, stuff like that.
Yeah. And there was at least one. It was a Stern pinball machine that, from my notes, was released in 2001. Then there was also an Austin Powers collectible card game. Which I don't.
Woof.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say that
if it can make money, I guess make money. But the thing is, though, they had so much opportunity. This was in the time and era of Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah,
they could.
You could get away with pervy games.
You could, and if they would, I guess it'd be a fine line because Leisure Suit Larry, from what I've heard about it, I've never played one, was pretty rough.
Oh, when I say game, I put that in the lightest sense of the word. It was an excuse, so there was slight challenge before you could see the next naked picture.
Right.
It's one of those. I've never played them, but there are 14 of them or something, and to me, it just seemed like
I've seen some gameplay because the Game Grumps played it, and
jeez.
I mean, it was. I'll be honest, it was kind of hilarious.
Embarrassing.
Like, everything was censored, obviously, because it's on YouTube, but it was funny. So we're looking at this history here: 3 movies, 4 video games, card game, a pinball machine.
It's like,
and then it's just gone.
It just kind of, it died out. Now, yeah, and before we went to the break, the gossip about Mike Myers.
Yeah.
There's a couple little things that I've heard. And like I said, it's all rumor. He can sue us, just like Walt Disney if he wants to. Come at us, Mike.
Yeah,
but from what I understand, that the reason why Mike Myers and Dana Carvey had a falling out, they haven't spoken or they haven't done anything or really been talked about each other for years and years. And this last Oscar, I think they both came out like arms around each other. I think they've made amends over the past few years, but rumor has it that Dana Carvey came up with the character of Austin Powers. Dana Carvey is hands down the better impressionist. And the better impersonator and the better, I think, comedic actor than Mike Myers. Mike Myers has I did a little research. He has dual citizenship. His parents are from, I think his mother he's from Canada. He was raised there, but his parents are from the UK.
Oh, okay.
I believe his father might have been Scottish, but they were from Liverpool. They lived in Liverpool, England, and then came over to Canada. But, I think, so like Mike Myers' bag is a little one note, I think. He does German's good, that Eastern European,
right?
And then he does Scottish, British, Irish, that whole UK. But so that's the first rumor that he stole it from Dana Carvey. And
interesting.
Then, after Wayne's World. And then the other rumor is that he is such an unpleasant person nowadays that and this is the most recent rumor from Cat in the Hat, when he filmed Cat in the Hat, was that he wouldn't speak to anybody but the director.
What?
If you wanted to speak to him, if he needed to send a message to like the makeup artist or someone, he would speak to his personal assistant, then they would tell you. He's above. I think it's one of those cases where.
Are we sure of that, or is that rumor?
That is apparently reported often, that he's not pleasant to work with.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I mean, if you think about it, we haven't seen him too much.
Right.
I read an article. They're like, the only thing he's been doing is cameos lately. The biggest role he's had to date recently was in Bohemian Rhapsody as that record producer. He was in Inglourious Bastards briefly as that British commander.
The Love Guru.
That's what they said. What ended the Mike Myers train. The Love Guru was so bad and offensive, bad, awful comedy. Just no, don't.
Well, but there is rumor floating around, and this has been rumor for over 10 years.
Since the third one ended.
That there's going to be an Austin Powers 4.
And it's kind of picked up a little bit more recently. There have been more reports over the last couple years of it like really getting into fruition.
I would honestly be really okay with it if it was a new Austin Powers. If it was like a younger,
Well, I'd like to still do the time travel. Let's make him time travel again or something. Now that we see a younger Mike Myers, make it the dark and gritty 80s. But make it like a Casino Royale, but still funny.
Oh, yeah.
So you get that hard James Bond feel with everything else, but then you've got this Austin Powers character floating around with either a younger version of himself, or you could play with the end game idea of multiple.
Right.
When you travel back in time here, it doesn't mean it changes the future.
I don't know if he's young enough to play him anymore, though.
No.
I think we would. And that's the thing is I don't know if there can be.
He'd come back out of retirement. It would be, you'd see a group of new spies or something.
Yeah, almost like a Kingsman Secret Service type thing. And
we're kind of in the future now, what we would like to see. I kind of want a little bit about video games. Make a Dr. Evil game, an Evil Genius take off, where you build a base, you build your lair, make it hilarious. You're constantly being invaded.
It could be a mobile game. That'd be a perfect idle clicker.
That's this franchise.
Expand,
you're absolutely
almost
right.
like a city builder. Build your evil base, and the more evil mountains that you carve your face into, then
you can hold the world ransom more.
Right.
And that's how you restart. You hold the world for X amount of millions or billions
and
of
dollars. And you can take your risk. Like you say, hey, I'm going to attempt to hold it ransom for $1 billion.
And that's how you restart. You know how Paragon.
yeah,
you know how they always
that'd be
reset,
fun.
and you make more money the next time, but
like
you start back at
prestiging,
zero.
yeah.
Your prestige.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah, you hold the world ransom. Handsome ransom. That's your next change.
You know what?
Austin Powers in the handsome ransom.
I'm okay holding the world handsome. That's what I do best.
Handsome.
But yeah, I think that
Something like that. You don't need an open world game. How would you even like do Austin? Who would be the character? Unless you started a game where it's like you're playing with timelines so much, it would be like a Rick and Morty style. So you Austin Powers keep coming in out of different dimensions.
That could be kind of fun too.
It would just become a different situation altogether, though.
But I mean, the thing is, though, I think outside of that sort of base builder game idea, there's not much you can do.
No. It's already been done,
right?
If you want a good spy game,
because it's not quite raunchy enough to go full Leisure Suit Larry.
And he's not a Metal Gear-esque spy who can snap a net. He's hilarious. He judo chops. The combat's hilarious. That's not that kind of a movie.
And I think it could be fun too if they did something where it was like a retro, like a demake of a game. Like they make an Austin Powers 16-bit platformer. I would play that.
Yeah, just like Stranger Things did.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that.
Make something that's very stylized, and maybe make it something. How about this? Something where when you're playing through the 70s portions, it's like really low graphics.
Yeah.
And then when you get up to like the 90s,
as you time travel,
it's a little bit better.
The graphics change.
Yeah,
that's kind of brilliant. And start in the 80s.
And it would just be a platformer, just fun, just a collectathon. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to take...
Austin Powers has to travel through video. Yeah. Send him into the video games. And then as the progresses, that's actually really brilliant.
That'd be fun.
That'd be really brilliant.
That'd be a lot of... There are games that have already done that. Like, I think you've seen them like where... they've as you unlock things, you unlock better graphics, you unlock colors.
Yeah. One of the coolest ones I remember playing back in college was a game called Saboteur, where you were a Irish saboteur during Nazi-occupied France, and you lived in France, and you were bombing the Nazis out of France, but you were as a saboteur, like screwing up their stuff. And as you freed more areas and did more shenanigans and blew more stuff up, more color entered the city as those areas became free.
That's
but
cool.
if you were in a completely Nazi-occupied area, it would be hard black and white, rain, look like a noir movie, but then the only color would be the red swastika. So it was like this harsh red against black and white. But as you burn those flags down, the street would light up, the rain would stop. It was really kind of cool.
But like something like that could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they also, if they wanted to, I would be okay seeing you know how Netflix did Wet Hot American Summer, the series?
Yeah.
Do one of those.
Miniseries.
A miniseries with, in that case, I would be okay with the new cast.
You could get a new cast, or you have him and you focus on all the other members of the cast too. All these people are still alive. Like even Wagner, who is number 2. What's it? James Wagner, I think is his name. Very famous old-time actor. He still does like mutual insurance commercials. He's still out there acting. Get number 2 back. Yeah. Why not? All these actors are
if they are able to point it out and make fun of it and make light of it, because like if for those of you who haven't watched Wet Hot American Summer, it was a movie, and then over 20 years later, it was a TV show with the same actors that took place before the movie did. So the whole time they're like, oh man, by the time we're done with this year of camp, we're going to feel 20 years younger.
And they're drastically older. Yeah.
Like
so overweight. It's so funny.
It's incredible. But they pointed out, like they
make fun of it.
Nobody has any illusions.
It would be, I mean, we're in a day and age of like with the Me Too movement, you could also play up with that. Austin Powers being a womanizer. It could be his struggle in this day and age. Yeah. You're in a new, 1997 sexual struggle and like womanizing in 97 is different from 2019.
Yeah.
It was a different struggle, and like, it's shocking we're still going through that struggle. However, it could be used. I hate to use it as comedy, but it could be used as a device in the movie.
I'm a very firm believer that you should be able to use serious issues as comedy.
Well, because it would help him grow as a character and he would develop into it. So it would be used for good.
I don't know. I've always thought, I mean, and maybe this is like, I don't want to be like up on a, what's the phrase, up on a soapbox here?
Yeah.
But I honestly think that there's almost no situation that couldn't or shouldn't be tackled with comedy.
No.
Because
South Park
is kind of it's because when you're making a comedy about something, you're not making light of it. Mm-mm. You're seeing you're
pointing out society.
You're pointing out society, and you're putting things into this lens that makes it more accessible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't go. Yeah, a lot of people don't go to see drama movies, but if you put something into a comedy that has a strong message, people respond.
They're
people
like,
get
yeah,
that.
that makes sense.
And Austin Powers even did that in some senses because they did tackle some pretty heavy topics about monogamous relationships and like safe sexual practices, things like that. Like, and they tackled.
Condom. What am I, a sailor?
Right. Yeah. Well, they should. They go from port to port.
Yeah.
but they tackle those issues, and they do it in a funny way. But it does it in a way that makes you say, "Oh yeah, well that's true.
I remember
that's
that.
Right.
Yeah. Man, they were just doing it all over the place in the 60s, but now you cannot do that.
Right,
Austin.
exactly.
For not just reasons of society. There are stuff that will kill you now if you do that like willy-nilly.
So, and you know what, guys, we're reaching the end of our time here, but we want to hear from you. What's your guys' favorite Austin Powers movie? What do you guys want? Do you guys even want to see an Austin Powers 4?
How would you like to see it? Would they do it? Would it be considered a reboot? I don't think so. I think it would just be a fourth iteration. They'd make fun of it for being a reboot, like not Judge Wink Wink.
Right.
But it would be very interesting to see how they took it with the current state of affairs and how everything is.
So let us know. You can contact us, franchiseunpacked@gmail.com, or on our Instagram. We're on there all the time. Yep. You know what? Let's take a picture for the Instagram right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna. If you watch the episode, you'll be like, "Oh, I was kind of there for that."
Now you know when this picture was taken.
We're gonna selfie style it. Oh, look at all those neck wrinkles. Hold on.
You're like the robots in Alien.
There we go. Perfect. Got it. Wonderful. And Dave's just like
crawling out of the closet.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody. Our Instagram is @FranchiseUnpacked. You can catch me on Instagram @TheDaveOfWonders.
And I am @TheZachRogers. Dave, is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Stay groovy, baby.
Stay groovy, baby. Yeah.
That was bad.
You guys, thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to share this episode with your friends. Rate us on iTunes. Subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do. You know the drill. And we'll see you guys next week.
Catch you later.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. The next franchise we'll be unpacking is Fallout. But in the meantime, feel free to drop us a line with any questions, comments, or future episodes at franchiseunpacked@gmail.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, and be sure to share so we can keep these episodes coming your way. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.